Welcome or welcome back, because I see many names which previously people were attending the other seminars, other webinars, info session 1 and workshop 1 and workshop 2. Today we have info session 2. Next slide, please. Okay, so today we have agenda, as you can see on the slide. So first, the InvestEU Programme, the second part, other schemes, other from EIC Accelerator. It means EIC Pathfinder, EIC Transition, and EIC Prices. Third part will concentrate on supporting schemes. It means EIC Business Acceleration Service and EIC Marketplace. And fourth part will give you information about the supporting organizations. It means national contact points and Europe Enterprise Network. And for sure, of course, we will have half an hour for Q&A. Q&A focusing not only on today's presentation, because many of you were attending previous webinars, so you still can have questions from previous webinars. Okay, next slide. So I will introduce myself. So I evaluated a lot of EIC Accelerator and pilot and previous call SME instrument proposals for EASMA, and also since 2015. And so SER says a lot. In my case, was for sure more than 300. It was approximately 400 actually, so it's really a lot. And I evaluated also in Horizon 2020 other schemes for RIA and for CESAR joint undertaking. My area is security and use space, because I work in defense and security sector. At the moment, I work in the Air Force Institute of Technology in Poland, and my key competence are commercialization, also project and risk management, business development in R&D. And also, of course, this international cooperation in scope of this projects for Horizon 2020 and now also Horizon Europe. I just also would like to introduce our special guest, because Darek will introduce himself. I just wanted to say that we have a special guest today. She's a manager in a national contact point in Poland, and she, Kasia Walczyk-Matuszek, supports us with part 1 and part 4 of our webinar, and also help us with answers for your questions at the end of our webinar.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to meet you. I'm working for the National Contact Point as a head of unit dedicated to the development of the research potential currently under Horizon Europe. So responsible for the Pillar 3 as well. But my history track in framework programs go back to the 7th. So I've been already in charge of framework programs, and in particular in companies in the framework program for, I believe, 12 years by now, so I can also see the differences throughout the programs. On a daily basis, we collaborate with companies interested currently on the EIC fund, but also we develop many services as NCPs in collaboration with the Enterprise Europe Network as well. So I will be happy to share with you some information that could be useful in regard to your plans related to the application process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kasia. And Darek? Darek, you have to unmute yourself.
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry for delay. My name is Dariusz Janusek. I used to be a remote evaluator in SME instrument program for 4 years, and at this moment I'm a EIC jury member, so this is the last stage of the evaluation process in EIC Accelerator program. I'm an entrepreneur and a specialist and in the field of health. So I'm leading the medtech company, and in this program I'm a specialist in healthcare and medical devices. Yeah, Anya.
Okay, so next slide, please. So in general about today's webinar, we would like to present you and describe shortly other schemes than EIC Accelerator, because we concentrated on EIC Accelerator previous 3 webinars. So today is the info session about the rest, what we can find in EIC schemes. So we have other calls in the same area. It's Pathfinder for entities. I mean, so Pathfinder and transition, and of course we have Accelerator. And the main mission of EIC is to identify and develop and deploy high-risk innovation of all kinds. Focus on breakthrough, market creating, and deep tech. The EIC is steered by EIC board, which is composed of leading innovators, including entrepreneurs, investors, researchers, and ecosystem, of course. In supporting schemes, we have also business acceleration services, including coaches and mentors, corporates, investors, and also ecosystem. It is specially designed for proactive management. So during projects, projects are also focused on roadmaps creation, reviews, reorientations, and etc. And cooperation with EIC program managers, especially in challenge calls. These schemes are also connected with follow-up with fundings of other results from Horizon 2020, from and collaboration with ERC and EIT schemes, and also national programs. So this is in general, and now we would like to present you Darek. Next slide, please. The first part. So it's InvestEU Programme. So Kasia, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So in this part, I would like to give you a few details related to the new initiative of the European Commission, which is the InvestEU Programme. If we could go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So, you might already heard about the InvestEU Programme. The program itself is, as I mentioned, the new initiative, but it's not new from scratch, because it's bringing together under one roof already what was elaborated and piloted under the especially Horizon 2020. But if you look back, there we also had one financial instrument such as risk sharing finance facility, which was implemented in collaboration with the European Investment Bank already under the 7th framework program. So the InvestEU program as such was presented by the Commission, was announced. There was also a special press release related to this. However, it has not been implemented yet. So there are still, let's say, finalization procedures which are dealing with the implementation of the program. And we are expecting the first instruments to be launched by the end of this year. So the EU Invest program is a program which is parallel to the other programs, such as Horizon Europe. So under the Horizon Europe, you will not find any financial instruments related to loans or guarantees. apart from the EIC fund. But the EIC fund is a capital instrument, and its role is reserved only to the EIC Accelerator, let's say, instrument, where the capital investments into the projects with the TRL 9 can be done. So the EU Invest program is based on the successful model of the Investment Europe Plan and the Juncker Plan, and it should be a special tool of the instrument of the Commission that should enable to the of course some economic indicators, and especially should trigger at least 650 million euros additional investments and private investment as well, but also should, let's say, enable the implementation of the innovation into the European market, enhancing the competitiveness of the European economy, create jobs, and generally boost the innovation and investment. So if we could go to the next slide. Here you see what was under the financial perspective 2014-2020, so Horizon 2020. As indicated on the slide, there were many financial instruments. It was one issue, but then on the other hand, these instruments were also scattered over several programs. So there was a Horizon 2020 Innofin instruments. We had Innofin Equity, Innofin SME guarantees, loan services, but also there was the other framework programs such as COSME, and the other framework program had as well its own financial instruments. Then we have a Creative Europe program, and also there were instruments. And if you go through other smaller, very small instruments implemented by several DGs of the European Commission, each of such a program has its own financial instruments. And they were dedicated to support companies. The majority of the companies were small and medium-sized companies, but also there was a possibility to support, let's say, the small mid-cap, so those SMEs who, with definition, who extended the definition or the quota, let's say, for the or the limits for a small and medium-sized company only due to enhanced number of staff. And these instruments were, depending on the program, they were targeted to support innovation. In Horizon 2020, they were, let's say, almost fully bottom up, and they were targeting to support companies with the innovative projects. It was the preferential financial instruments offered by commercial banks to companies in particular countries. So in practice, it was like the commercial bank from the country was asking for, let's say, special guarantees from European Investment Bank or European Investment Fund. And thanks to these guarantees, they could offer preferential debt instruments in form of loans and credits, which were offered to companies. So the company having such a let's say, having a project or having a solution already well developed, so the TRL should be advanced on one hand, and aiming and implementation of such solution of the commercialization could apply for such an instrument. There are, of course, different rules throughout programs in regard to how advanced the solution should be. And so the COSME was, let's say, more relaxed, and it was more supporting could support the usual development of the company, whereas Horizon 2020 was quite demanding in their roles. And then Creative Europe, for example, was focusing only on the thematic topics related directly to the Creative Europe program, so creative industries, heritage, and so on. The instruments were also diversified in forms. So we had capital instruments here. So there was the possibility into investment into, let's say, a special equity funds in the countries was possible, into leasing funds, into commercial banks, as I mentioned. And then they were diversified thanks to the, let's say, depending on the size of the company who could apply. There was also a special instrument, risk-sharing finance facility offered by the European Investment Bank, who was dedicated to support large research and innovation project. And it was granted directly from the European Investment Bank to for example, to large infrastructures or large demonstration pilot plans, and quite a few of them use it as an opportunity throughout European Union associated countries to be implemented. As you see, this diversity was quite rich, and then there was a political decision taken that it should be somehow unified and it should be put under the one roof. So under the current financial perspective, we have this investment instruments, and they are divided according to the 4 categories, which I will elaborate on a bit more later. So we have sustainable infrastructure, we have research, innovation, digitalization, we have small and medium-sized companies, and we have also social investment and skills. So if we could go to the next slide, please. The InvestEU program consists of the InvestEU fund. So it is about to mobilize private investment and public investment using especially guarantees from the EU budget to offer companies preferential financial instruments so that they will be able to implement and commercialize their project. Then there is a foreseen a special InvestEU advisory hub, which should deliver technical advice to investment projects who are seeking financing. And last but not least, there is also EU InvestEU portal, very easily accessible database who should bring together projects and investors. So as you see, the simplification is also done at the level of, let's say, management, but also, let's say, access of the interested entities in obtaining financial instruments and not, let's say, the grants. If we go to the next slide, please. So here you have the main areas of investment, which are defined under the InvestEU. The first one is related to the sustainable infrastructure. So this area gives the priority to the project in sustainable energy, then the digital connectivity, transport, circular economy, projects related to the water, waste, and other environment infrastructure. So it could be the project diversified in regard to the size and the financial support required. So the sustainable infrastructure is very much in line with what the Commission is currently targeting at, which is the Green Deal goal set as one of the political priority for the financial perspective. Then the second one is related to the research, innovation, and digitalization. So here the priority will be given to the finance the projects concentrating on the research and innovation, but especially those who are targeting at the market uptake of the research results and technologies elaborated under, let's say, research projects, such as, for example, that could be research projects which were financed under the Horizon 2020, and there is already a technology on the market that should that could be commercialized or is requiring only, let's say, a minor fine-tuning to be ready for the commercialization. So here the instruments could help. Then a very important part is, of course, the digitalization of the industry. And here again, the political background for that is the digital agenda set by the European Union. Then scaling up larger innovative companies. This goal is one of the priority underlined as well under the European Innovation Council, because Europe is aiming at, in the current perspective, aiming at the processes which will enable the scaling up of the companies. It's not enough to invest in the startups, and it's not enough to allow them to develop the, let's say, technologies in the innovation project. But the next steps should be taken and should enable the scale up, so growing of the company, so that their participation in the global market will be bigger. And then also the European economy, thanks to this, will grow, and the process will result as well in the creation of jobs. And last but not least, artificial intelligence and more. Here, these are the usual topics related to the support in regard to the research and innovation. Small business, this is a special support dedicated to the small and medium-sized companies and small mid-cap companies. As I have mentioned, there is a definition of the small and medium-sized enterprise, where there is a limit set for the employees, and of course the turnover and the profit. But many of the companies who are, let's say, in the frames of the financial rules related to the small and medium-sized enterprises are exceeding the, let's say, the condition related to the number of staff. And they are called small mid-caps companies. And the priority again is given to the small mid-cap companies here, or the possibility rather is given to the small mid-cap companies, as it is also throughout the Horizon Europe, because in many schemes they are treated as a small and medium-sized enterprises, and they can apply for funding. And last but not least, the last area of the investment is the social investment and skills. Here you can find what was financed in law under the Creative Europe or other programs targeted to support the socio-economic development. So the skills, education, training, schools, universities, social innovation, healthcare, microfinance, social enterprises, integration of the migrants, refugees, and so on and so on. So these topics will be again covered, and they finally are placed high on the European agenda as the intervention area. So if we go to the next slide. So how it works. So funding is open to the companies of all size. So as I mentioned here, of course, the priority is given because there is a special goal related to the small and medium-sized enterprises and small mid-caps. However, there is a space also for the others. So large companies, scale-ups, and large mid-caps, and they could act locally, regionally, nationally. There is also the possibility to support, let's say, governments, local, national, when there are projects related to investments of high importance. Funding will be available in form of loans and guarantees. So again, the guarantees should be given to the commercial banks or special selected banks in particular countries, and the funding is dedicated to risky projects. So not every project, of course, can apply for beneficial or preferential funding, but those who are risky, and normally they would not receive, let's say, a standard commercial loan in the commercial bank for the development. There will be a special set of criteria dedicated to how the project should be assessed as risky. Just for your information, in the Horizon 2020, for example, one of the criteria assessing the project as risky was that the company, for example, was located in a technology park. So it was quite interested. And of course, then the TRL was taken into consideration and other aspects. Very, very important for your information is that support received under these preferential loans guarantees is not a state aid or the de minimis. Why is it important? Because it does not, for the companies, it is especially important because it does not shut the door for the companies to apply for funding from operational program, from the structural funds, because those funds are foreseen as state aids or the de minimis, and also financial instruments offered under the structural funds are burdened with the state aid or the de minimis rule. And the European EU InvestEU not. This is similarly with the, let's say, Horizon Europe fund. So this should be taken into consideration also as a kind of a preference for the company and an asset of such instruments. If we could go to the next slide, please. And that's it in regard to the EU Invest program. As I mentioned, it should be, the first instrument should be launched by the end of the year. Now, if the company is interested, there are on the side of the selected, let's say, banks in the country. In Poland, this is the BGK Bank. You should fulfill a form, an application, and put what is about your interest. And then they will assess it and will reply you with the information, which of the instruments, which form of the instrument, and when could be available. So thank you very much for this part.
Thank you very much, Kasia. It's really good that there is a lot of new instruments in Horizon Europe in EIC and EIC schemes. So you can see how many other opportunities for funding you can find in this program. Darko, could we start with the next slide? And now I will describe a little other schemes for calls. And compare it a little with EIC Accelerator. So first is Pathfinder. So Pathfinder is for not only for SMEs, so it's for all legal entities, the different kinds. I mean, also universities, research organizations, SMEs, large companies, industry, or even mid-caps. Okay, so this program is focused on funds for research, for develop the scientific basis to underpin breakthrough technologies. So breakthrough technology is the key message in this kind of call. Next slide, please. We have two schemes in this Pathfinder call. So we have open scheme and challenges scheme. So first, open is a bottom-up approach with no predefined topics. It means that you can apply with any topic you have. But in another one scheme, in challenges, we have top-down challenge-driven calls for tackling specific technology breakthroughs by portfolios of projects. It means that we will have each year we will have specific topics for this call. Could we go to another slide? Okay, so some features of the call. So the funds are to support to realize an ambitious vision for radically new technology with potential to create new markets. It means innovation, of course, right? And to address global challenges. So not only European, right? But still European too. So this call is for early stage development of such technologies, like various activities at low technology readiness level. It means from 1 to 4 TRL. And it's focused on also on providing the foundations of the technology you are envisioning. Next slide, please. So we have also in this scheme so-called gatekeepers. And what is it? It means collaboration and interdisciplinary research and meeting the following gatekeepers, which are convincing long-term vision of a radically new technology, breakthrough technology, that has the potential to have a transformative positive effect to our economy and society. Another gatekeeper is concrete, novel and ambitious science toward technology breakthrough, providing advancement towards the envisioned technology. And the last one is high risk and high gain research approach and methodology with concrete and plausible objectives. Okay, so these gatekeepers are important in this scheme. Next slide, please. Some details about the application. So we need to have 3 independent legal entities from member states or associated countries, but at least one must be established in one of member states. What is good? That all types of legal entities are eligible. It was, I said, that not only SMEs. Proposals have to be up to 3 million euros. And another one good news is that funding rate is 100% of the eligible costs. Okay, next slide, please. What else? If you are selected? So there are additional opportunities for such projects. So beneficiaries of EIC Pathfinder projects are eligible also to receive additional ad hoc grants up to 3 per project or more if it's justified, with fixed amounts of up to 50,000 euros. What are eligible costs? It's for complementary activities to explore potential pathways to commercialization. So, how to be closer to the market, and for portfolio activities. What also, what Pathfinder beneficiaries also can have? They can submit a proposal to EIC Transition for transforming their research results into innovation opportunities. It means to reach higher TRL and be closer to the market, and also to submit EIC Accelerator proposal via the fast track scheme. It means that you don't need to prepare full proposal, another one, but it's just formular. And also receive free access to a wide range of business acceleration services, which will be described a little later. Next slide, please. How to apply? Via funding and tender portal. So not via this special platform for EIC Accelerator. This application is via EU funding and tenders portal. Before the given deadline, of course, and the specific proposal template is prepared. In part B, in sections 1 to 3, its maximum is 70 pages. Information about the outcome of the proposal you should receive within 5 months from the call deadline. And if you are selected, you will have grant agreement signing 8 months after the call deadline. Actually, this year, this call is already closed because the deadline was in May. So you have to wait until the next year for the next call. But of course, we have still open the EIC Pathfinder Challenges call. Next slide, please. Okay, some more about the evaluation proposal. So this information is important for application preparation. So first, you have a submission. At the last call is, of course, the deadline, given deadline. So first phase is individual remote phase. Remote score is a median from the all scores. The second phase is so-called rebuttal phase. It means that you will get comments from evaluators, and you can reply for these comments to describe something more, give some details, or justify something. Okay, so and you should reply within 7 calendar days, and maximum answer is 2 A4 pages. Third phase is evaluation committee phase, which is organized in like consensus meetings and with cooperation to external experts. And at the end, you will get a feedback with evaluation summary report covering final score and all comments. Next slide, please. The criteria. So now you will get information about what the application consists of. So excellence. In excellence, you will have section like long-term vision, science towards technology breakthrough, objectives, of course, and interdisciplinarity. And the weight of this section is 60%, so it's the most important, of course. Second section, impact, covers innovation potential, communication and dissemination. And the weight of this section is 20%. And the last one, quality and efficiency of the implementation, covers quality on the consortium, work plan, of course, and allocation of resources. And the weight is 20%. So as you can see on such topics are concentrated the application. So on the innovation potential, not impact, right? Not directly impact, but innovation potential, and also science toward technology breakthrough. So it means, you know, the state of the art should be very well prepared. Okay, the next slide. About the challenges, which is still open, the call. So EIC Pathfinder challenges aim is to build on new cutting-edge directions in science and technology to disrupt a field and the market or create new opportunities by realizing innovative technological solutions grounded in high risk and high gain research and development. So in this scheme, we have top-down based on a given vision for each challenge, and indicative technology readiness level is start from 2 and finish at 4 TRL. Next slide, please. We have here topics for this year. So we have 5 topics this year, and it's awareness insight, tools to measure and stimulate activity in brain tissue, emerging technologies in cell and gene therapy, novel routers to gene hydrogen production, and engineered living materials. So if you are dealing with such topics and you have breakthrough technology in these areas, you can apply before the deadline, which is on 27th of October this year. Next slide, please. There are some differences in application details. So about the consortia, at least 2 independent legal entities. But if 2, they must be from 2 different member states or associated countries. If a consortium is composed of 3 members, 3 partners, they must be from member state or associated country, but at least 1 have to be established in member state. Challenge 1, so awareness insight, is for at least 3 partners consortium. Okay, so this topic, for this topic, consortia which can apply might be bigger than 3 partners. Here also we have the same rule that all types of legal entities are eligible. But in case of single entity, mid-caps and larger companies are not permitted. Okay, so academia, research, and SMEs. The proposals have to be up to 4 million euros, and funding rate is the same, so it's 100% of the eligible costs. The difference is that projects in EIC Pathfinder challenges are supervised by the EIC program managers, and projects will participate in relevant portfolio activities. It's also important from application process, but a little later I will tell you why. It should be published already, support for applicants, so-called challenge guide. Next slide, please. Okay, in this scheme, we have something different and very important, especially for impacts. It's called proactive management. So it means engagement and interaction amongst projects. So you have to describe it and predict it when you prepare your application. Why? To seed new ideas and facilities cross-sectorial contamination impact on specific research. Also, vision to integrate projects toward ambitious targets and addresses broader research challenges. It means this portfolio goals. And also nurture the transmission to innovation by balancing dissemination and IP protection and networking with key players. And also bridging EIC project and other European programs like Horizon Missions, ERC, EIT, societal challenges, national and regional programs too. What else? Identify regulatory or legislative gaps and propose opportunities to bridge them, and also steer and research and innovation towards EU policy orientation. It means take strategic directions and influence policy. Next slide, please. In this case, we also have additional opportunities for selected projects, and these are to receive additional ad hoc grants, the same as open. It means up to 3 per project or more if justified, with fixed amounts of up to 50,000 euros. And the same for complementary activities to explore potential pathways to commercialization and for portfolio activities. And also for submitting a proposal to the EIC transition for transforming the research results into innovation opportunities. Also to submit an EIC Accelerator proposal via the fast track scheme and receive free access to a wide range of business acceleration services. So these are the same like open. Next slide, please. How to apply the same scheme? So via EU funding and tenders portal. Of course, we have a deadline, which is 27th of October this year. And specific proposal templates are published. In this case, you have a little more pages in part B, in section 1 to 3. It means 25 pages. In open was 17. Okay, and similarly to open, information about the outcome you should have within 5 months from the call deadline. Grant agreement signing 8 months after the call deadline, and the deadline I've already told you a few times. Okay, next slide, please. The evaluation procedure is a little different. We do not have this rebuttal phase. So we have submission first, then individual remote phase. Remote score is the same, is median. Evaluation committee phase. It's a little different because all projects which meet threshold are evaluated by experts evaluators and program managers. So they will be a committee together, evaluators and program managers. Okay, so first, individual remote phase is for expert evaluators, and this evaluation committee phase is this committee is composed together of experts and program managers. And the feedback you will have at the end, the ESR, with the final score and comments, of course. Next slide, please. Evaluation criteria are also a little different. Okay, so in excellence, which is the same 60% weight, we have relevance to the challenge, novelty, plausibility, and methodology. In impact, we have additional one because we have, of course, innovation potential and communication dissemination. We also have potential impact. So here you can see that it must be really breakthrough technology, very well described, very well presented, and with defined potential impact, global and of course European, right? In the third part, in the third section, we have the quality of the application, consortium, work plan and the allocation of resources, so it's the same, and impact and quality and efficiency of the implementation, both weight is 20%. The next slide, please. Okay, so this was about the Pathfinder. Now, shortly about the transition. It's another scheme. What for? For mature and novel technology and develop a business case to bring it to market. So main missions are transition to technology, transition to market, and transition to entrepreneurship. So in Pathfinder, we have research from 1 to 4 or 2 to 4 TRL. Now in transition, you can reach a higher TRLs, for sure 6, maybe higher, and prepare for the market entrance. Next slide, please. So what about the topics? So this funds are for innovation activities that go beyond the experimental proof of principle in laboratory to support both maturation and validation of your novel technology in the lab and in a relevant application environments, and also development of a business case and business model towards the innovation's future commercialization. Grants in transition are up to 2.5 million euros, and more are available to validate and demonstrate technology in application relevant environment and development market readiness. Here we have pages limit similar to Pathfinder challenges. It means 25 pages in part B, sections 1 to 3. Deadline for this year is the 22th of September for both open and challenges, but of course open is closed and challenges are not. We still do not have proposals, right? Evaluation, first phase is remote by experts, and score is sum of 3 medians. So first is median from 1 expert, and the final score is median from 3 experts, from 3 medians, sorry, not 3 experts, but from 3 medians. And you should get feedback after 9 weeks. If successful, you should get invitation 13 weeks after the deadline. And during the after interview, you will meet with 6 jury members. And the scheme is similar to Accelerator. It means go, no go answer, right? And feedback you should have 17 weeks after the deadline. If successful, grant agreement should be signed after 6 months of the call deadline. So it's really short comparing to Horizon 2020 rules. Okay, the next slide, please. Main features of EIC transition. So EIC transition has open funding for projects in any field of science or technology, as well as challenge-driven funding on specific strategic fields. So we have the same situation as in Pathfinder. So we have some bottom-up and top-down projects. For who? Single applicants like SMEs, spin-offs, startups, research organizations or universities, or small consortia, but maximum 5 partners. And next slide, please. Who can apply? This is a new scheme, of course, in Horizon 20, in Horizon Europe, and and it's restricted to applications based on results generated by the following eligible projects. That's why it's still open. This call is open, right? Because we still do not have Pathfinder, Pathfinder from Horizon Europe projects, but it's open for previous projects, funded projects under EIC Pilot Pathfinder, Horizon 2020 FED Open, FED Proactive, FED Flagship, and FED ERA-NET calls. So if you are beneficiaries of these calls, you can apply for this transition call. And also European Research Council, Horizon 2020 proof of concept projects also. If you are beneficiaries, there is a need to demonstrate that you are the owner of intellectual property rights, the holder of them, or have the necessary rights to commercialize the results from one of these eligible projects. Next slide, please. Open funding. The majority of funding will be awarded through open calls with no predefined thematic priorities. This open funding is designed to enable support for any technologies and innovations that cut across different scientific, technological, sectoral, and application fields, or represent novel combinations. Next slide, please. And we have two challenges for this year. First is medical technology and devices from lab to patient. And the second is energy harvesting and storage technologies. So the same, if you are active in such areas, and of course we are beneficiaries of presented projects, funded projects, you can apply. I know that we are from different area, of course, space, but why not? We have many projects. We are cross-sectoral, so you can also use your technology in other areas. Next slide, please. And the third scheme is EIC Prices. Its Prices is not a call, so we have 5 prizes now. First is the European Capital of Innovation Award, which is an annual recognition prize awarded to the European cities that best promote innovation in their communities. Second one is very important because it's prize for women innovators. And this prize celebrates the women entrepreneurs behind Europe's game-changing innovation. Third is Horizon Prizes, EIC Horizon Prizes. Under its pilot version, the EIC promoted several Horizon Prizes to be awarded to the most innovative solutions to societal challenges. The next one is the European Social Innovation Competition, and it acts as a beacon for social innovators across Europe, incentivizing, rewarding early-stage ideas, shaping our society for the better. And the last one prize is the European Innovation Procurement Awards. And this is recognizing the efforts done by public and private buyers to promote and implement innovation procurement across Europe. And this is probably the last slide from my part. So when you get the presentation, you will have links to all these activities, all these calls, so you can check it on the website. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Anya. And the next session is about what else can you have from EIC program, and what's the added value of being a beneficiary and a participant of the EIC program. And
Darius, if I may, because you are starting the new chapter, but
yep.
We have got the request from Wanda Nartiso. Awareness Insight, could you elaborate a bit about this topic? Anna, could you answer the request?
Darko, may we go back to slides? Or you can, I think that we can tell later. It's for with in our opinion, is for software, right? Okay, awareness inside. Darko, of course, you also have this information, so we can. So you can also describe it a little.
Yes, all these topics are very precisely described in a guideline, and I don't want to go into details what about is each of these sections, but awareness insight is related to the some cognitive functions, some
well-being,
well-being, yes.
Is connected with this challenge, with these challenges, right?
Yeah.
Maybe later on you could share a link to the specific document that in order to help Wanda Narciso to clarify her doubts. Okay.
Maybe we will add to the presentation link to call, because it's in work program. It's in the call description. Okay, about this topic.
It's a good idea.
We didn't prepare it in details because we do not have so much time.
No.
Today,
it's not
so many topics.
Well, it's not an allegation. Yeah, but anyway, if somebody asks, so we need to figure out how to fulfill the expectation.
Okay, and please write your questions about all our workshops. I mean, because we have it's fourth one, right? So if you have also questions concerning the previous sessions and about this one topics, so please write your questions in the chat, and we will answer at the end, because we have 30 minutes for the for Q&A at the end of this session. Okay. Thank you.
And what about 3 minutes break for refreshment right now, because the 1 hour is over?
Okay, it's up to you.
Well, I think the content is so compact that we need to refresh ourselves. So
okay, so 3 minutes.
And make some well stretching.
Right.
Okay, so let's take 3 minutes break, and we start again at 3 p.m. 06 Warsaw time. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, we can start again.
Okay, thank you so much. Next session is about some supporting schemes which are delivered to the to all those people who started the application process with the project with EIC project or are beneficiary of these projects. And this includes EIC Business Acceleration Services, EIC Marketplace, and European innovation access to European innovation ecosystem. And the EIC Business Acceleration Services, they aims to accelerate the EIC innovations and the growth of top deep tech companies. And it is done by the support which is delivered to the researchers, innovators, entrepreneurs, and this support is via access to the set of business acceleration services. And all the EIC supported projects and companies get the access to the coaching, mentoring, and partnering, and the other EIC business acceleration services. But you can have this access to the services via through the EIC community platform, or this is web page platform, or provided through the EIC fund or partner or organizations. This it mainly depends on what stage of the application process you are. And there are three main pillars. The first one is the access to coaches, mentors, expertise, and trainings. It means to all the people, the professional who will work with you to support you with everyday problems, challenges, and with finding the proper solutions for those challenges. And next is access to global partners, which means corporate investors, distributors, clients, end users, and the final one is the access to the innovation ecosystem, which was built, generally speaking, to support innovation companies in development of the products and the market deployment. And the access to the coaches, mentors, expertise, and trainings. These services are provided by professional service providers and ecosystem partners, which includes expertise in the area of intellectual property protection. So all the aspects related to the IPR and generation protection. All these topics which are related to legal and financial issues, and also general data protection, the compliance with general data protection regulations, which is very important, especially if you are working, for example, if you are working with patients, delivering a product for healthcare system. This is a critical point. And they will support you with compliance with all these regulatory aspects, with compliance of your products with some certification standards, and also all this standardization, so they can support you even at the stage of building the feasibility study for the certification. And if you are working in healthcare, probably feasibility study for the clinical trials, and then they can support you also with whole the process. And they can support you with all the aspects related to the market analysis, competition analysis, and they can give you assistance in negotiation. This is quite important, especially for SMEs who are beneficiary of the investment part in EIC Accelerator, because it happens that they do not have they are not experienced in such negotiations with private fund, which is EIC fund, and they have to start the negotiation of the agreement so they can receive the support from EIC in preparation of this agreement and preparation the term sheet, and also all the talks which will be done with the EIC fund. And access to global partners, which means corporate investors and users, but it depends what you need. Usually you will, because of the huge network of EIC, you will have access to all the stakeholders of your business plan and all the parties which are necessary to make market deployment of your product, or be prepared to do this commercialization. So this access, this includes exploration of commercialization potential with industry, which means that you will have the opportunity to do the MVP at the end customer, for example, which is sometimes not very easy to have access, especially to big corporates. And they will give you the access to the matchmaking events, which can extend your network of contacts. And of course, will help you with collaboration with corporates and private and public innovation procurers. So the access to the innovation ecosystem, it aims to stimulate meetings, collaboration between you, which means investors, researchers, innovators, entrepreneurs for sure, and all the other actors from the ecosystem, including corporate investors, business angels, which is quite important at the beginning of the way, mentors, coaches, innovation agencies, business associations, accelerators, incubators. If you are at the academia, with technical transfer offices, and of course, which is very important at every stage of development of your product, is the help and the support from IPR help desk. So first, when you will be succeeded with the short application, in case of EIC Accelerator, or at the beginning of the application process, if you will be succeeded with the first stage of application, you will have the access to the coaches and the mentoring services, which will give you a support in preparation the full proposal at the next stage. If you will receive a seal of excellence, which means that your company and your projects are very good, you will have the access to activities open for applications through the community platform. And then if you are a beneficiary, you will extend your services. Your services will be extended by services triggered by proactive project management. And in some cases, in some programs, if you agree of sharing your data, and you will be succeeded at with application at quite high level, the information about your project will be distributed in EIC network. And EIC Marketplace, this is a platform, this is trusted platform, web-based platform for sharing informations in order to stimulate further development of your preliminary findings and ideas. The main goal is to foster the further exploitation of preliminary findings and results generated under EIC project. And this is a platform for EIC companies and then project partners to share the information about your project. And even if it is at a very early stage. And in this case, you can have the access to the people who can support you at this stage or in the future in development process and the marketing process. And this marketplace has an AI-based detection functionalities. It was these functionalities were described in previous our webinars, and where the inventors, innovators, and investors have the possibility to interact, develop, and agree on new research, innovation, or market deployment actions. So the marketplace includes supporting services to allow EIC program managers to proactively manage their portfolios. It should support them with steering portfolios and developing or adjusting the roadmap by assessing qualitative data on scientific technology and market trends. And finally, there is an innovation ecosystem which support you to enable innovation ecosystem actors to work together. So it means that it helps you to bring together people or organizations whose goal is the innovation, and to bring together, to start to work together, to start to talk together, all this to link between resources, which means funds or facilities, organizations like academia, research and technology organizations, venture capitalists and financial institutions, investors. And this include actions carried out by the EIC, of course, and also European Institute of Innovation and Technology, activities across Horizon Europe, and innovatives at the national, regional, and local levels, as well as private and third sector initiative. And this is all about this support. Kasia?
Yes, thank you very much. So now I would like to give you a short overview of the support systems which are dedicated to the applicants. The first one is related to the national contact point, and the second one is the Enterprise Europe Network. So if we go to could go to the next slide. Thank you. So national contact points. In the agreement between the European Commission and European Union member states or the associated countries to the Horizon Europe, there is a requirement indicating that every country every of such country needs to establish a structure which is called the national contact points. And the national contact points are working according to special documents which are indicated as the minimum standards. And in this minimum standards, the sets of services delivered by the NCPs in particular country in regard to the applicants from the country is established. To such services belong of course awareness raising, so the information related to the Horizon Europe program, then organization of infodays, organization of workshops, of seminars dedicated to particular topics, organization, for example, of events dedicated to the proposal preparation, consultation of the proposals, sometimes also pre-proposal check, and enable of the successful matchmaking. So let's say partner search between the countries, between the partners from several countries in order to submit the joint proposal. And all of the services are free of charge. Then the member states of associated countries have the freedom how the national contact point shall be structured. And these structures are very different throughout the countries. So you might have one organization which is dedicated, which gathers all the NCPs and is delivering services to the research community, companies as well, but also NGOs. And such a case is, for example, in Poland. The national contact point is operating currently under the auspices of the National Center for Research and Development. Such a case is, for example, in Italy, where the APRE organization is a let's say, foundation, association, and the NCPs are there. But in many countries, you can have NCPs scattered over different organizations, like it is in Germany. The majority is under the DLR, but also you have NCPs, for example, in Jülich, you have the NCPs who are dealing with the energy topic, and in some other research institutes, you have NCPs dealing with the thematic topics. Just in the information from you is that you should find in your country the NCP organization. And it's very good to know the offer of the NCPs, to find the webpage and all other communication tools, because as mentioned, the NCPs are providing a lot of information, updated information, because we have the direct contact with the European Commission, and the Commission is targeting NCPs as first and asking us also about spreading the information throughout the community. So we have the most updated information related to the Horizon Europe topics, evaluation procedures, and so on and so on. We are also specially trained by the Commission and are delivered very, let's say, detailed information in regard to the application process. So this is also worth mentioning. In regard to the companies, I would also like to recommend you a special project which is targeted towards NCPs dealing with the European Innovation Council. This, the acronym of the project is Access to EIC. You can Google it and search there, because we are producing many, let's say, useful publications related to the application, but also we organize events which might be interesting for you. So these are the structures, national contact points. And then if we go to the next slide, we have as well, I have just elaborated in details on these. So maybe I will also, highlight the assistance in the partner search. So whenever there is a topic and you are looking for a partner, you can use, of course, the thematic partner search tools dedicated to certain, let's say, currently clusters. But you may also target your NCP in your country and ask for support. For example, if you are from, I don't know, Poland, and you are looking for a partner from Italy, you can target us NCPs and asking that, hey, I would like to have a partner from Italy, research institute, or a research group who is especially specialized in that and that field. And we are, through our contacts with the NCP organization in Italy, we will try to find a relevant group which could support you in the proposal. So this is very important. So if we could go to the next slide, please. Then there is the Enterprise Europe Network. It is a different structure which is dedicated to support companies. So the Enterprise Europe Network is also somehow involved was in the SME instrument, and now is the EIC Accelerator, offering, let's say, the coaching and the mentoring services which are designed under these schemes. But the Enterprise Europe Network supports especially in the international partnerships. So they support your, let's say, visits to the fairs or to the international, let's say, networking events where you might find partners for collaboration, and it supports the growing of your business. Then also Enterprise Europe Network provides you with the advice for international growth and expansion into market. There is a business coaching. They have the special tools which can assess your the level of the innovation in your company. What is very important, Enterprise Europe Network is financed directly from the European Commission up to 60%, 30% is the budget involved by the specific country, and this is very different in regard to the NCPs, because NCPs are financed only by the country. It must be a state budget, so the country money has to be used to create NCPs. That is why there is a big freedom and big differences between the countries, whereas Enterprise Europe Network, this structure is, let's say, standardized, and should be at least standardized throughout the countries. So whenever you go and you see Enterprise Europe Network, you can expect that the level of the services and the portfolio of services offered to companies is there similar. You can find their consultants who deliver you free of charge services related to the assessment of the innovation, and who can also provide you with the services related to the international partnership. Here you have the web page where the Enterprise Europe Network is mentioned. The Enterprise Europe Network in 2021 is still operating from the budget of the previous perspective. Then we will have the new, let's say, budgetary round starting from the next year. What is very important now, the Enterprise Europe Network will also deliver a special set of services dedicated to the women innovators and dedicated to the companies from widening countries. So there will be more budget, let's say, simplifying it to these for the companies from Central Eastern Europe. In particular, due to simply, if you go through the results from Horizon Europe, you can see the companies from these countries are performing a bit lower than companies from advanced countries in Europe. And basically, it's all about the support services related to the applicants. I advise you, first of all, to find your NCP organization in the country you are coming from, and then also find on the web relevant Enterprise Europe Network point close to your location, because in the country there are, whereas there is one NCP organization, or this structure is quite limited, let's say. So the Enterprise Europe Network, there are many points throughout every country, because there are consortia in every country gathering the institutions that deal with the issue of the related to the support of the companies. Okay, thank you very much, because I believe this is the last slide related to the support. I give you the floor, Ania.
Thank you very much, Kasia. So today we presented a lot of information about different schemes than EIC Accelerator. So you probably can find something interesting for you, and find other opportunities for funding than you expected before we start our webinars. Of course, we encourage you to try to apply in also other schemes than EIC Accelerator, but also try to get support, not try, but contact and get support from NCPs and the EN's supports organizations. Okay, so now we have time, half an hour, as we planned, for your questions and our answers. So do you have any questions?